The 2008 Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania is a big moment for Punk. He's in here with Carlito, Chris Jericho, John Morrison, MVP, Mr. Kennedy, Shelton Benjamin, and Punk wins the thing. And not too terribly long after that, he's drafted to Raw. And his first night on Raw the following week, he cashes in his Money in the Bank after Batista was beat down, or after Batista has beaten down the world champion Edge, rather, and he wins the title. And this is a big moment for Punk. Obviously, now this is not the ECW title. This is the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw. And to get a win over Edge and then defend his title against JBL the same night, pretty cool moment for him. You know, no, I don't think a lot of people maybe saw this coming, that he would, right after the draft, win the world title. But nice little piece of business, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And the lights, the bulb had gone off in the power brokers' minds that the fans are telling us we're on to something. And oftentimes WWE has been blamed for not listening to the fans and reacting accordingly to what the fans are telling them, because the folks that buy tickets and come to live events, that make the effort to get to a live event, the parking, the admission, the hot dogs, the souvenirs, whatever it may be, it's not a cheap proposition. And I just think that, Punk was the kind of guy that the audience lifted on their shoulders. They embraced him, and they carried Punk to the promised land. Did they, meaning the fans themselves? And that's, to me, that was always the best judge for him, is that you get that direct market research, those guys that made the attempt to get from their house to the arena and sat there for a show. And then when he came out, it was amazing. And a lot of that some of that had to do with his music. I remember Jan loved when Punk would come out, because she loved the Cult of Personality.
Well, that wasn't it yet. He wasn't using that one just yet here, not until after the pipe bomb, but we're on our way there. But this is still a big moment. The pipe bomb happened June 27th. He wins the world title on June 30th, a few years prior. So June, for whatever reason, late June was Punk's time, man. And I've always wondered this, though. You sort of give credit to the WWE brass and say, hey, they're finally listening to the audience. This win to me felt a little bit like, hey, we're just doing this to have a swerve, to have a surprise, hey, nobody's going to see it coming. And I say that because when he defends his title against JBL that night, he doesn't just beat JBL clean. He has some help from John Cena and Crime Time, and Michael Hayes is even on that same DVD we've referenced, saying that a lot of the guys, people in the locker room and the office, felt like Punk tarnished the championship. And a lot of the maybe elder statesmen in the locker room felt like they were giving him the title too soon or prematurely, or it was the wrong move. So this feels like maybe somebody on the booking or writing team felt like, hey, they won't see this coming. This is a surprise, but they didn't really take him seriously. And I can support that by saying he loses the belt by not even being in the match. He's supposed to be headlining Unforgiven. It's a multi-man match, and Randy Orton and his faction punt CM Punk before the show starts, and he drops the title without ever losing it, and doesn't even appear in the pay-per-view where he was supposed to be defending his title in the main event. It feels like Punk as a championship is sort of an afterthought. And I think somewhere in here, Triple H was quoted as saying sometimes the guy makes the belt and sometimes the belt makes the guy. And in this case, it was maybe neither one. What do you think of, the way he was booked as champion once he is champion? Cause it doesn't feel like a vote of confidence, at least to me.
Yeah. I never heard, senior members of the roster complaining about Punk in that regard that Hayes described. I'm not calling Hayes a liar, cause I wasn't there. He was embedded in all that, creative writing bullshit, with those guys. Bottom line is that objectivity sometimes is, a lost asset within pro wrestling. Objectivity, it becomes more personal. I just saw that. I think some of those guys just looked at Punk and said, "Well, he doesn't look like us. He's not WWE main event material." But so your question is well put and probably has a great deal of validity to it. But I say, guys that I never had a talent come to me and say anything about this in passing conversation about Punk in a negative way ever. Only a few guys thought his body was not good. I remember somebody saying, well, his ass is too big. His ass is too big and it's too soft. And, wait a minute, where are we here? What are we doing? The crowd's telling you this guy's over. Our job is to put an ass every 18 inches in the stands.
Listen, I can't not ask this. Who the fuck said his ass is too big?
Hunter.
Oh my God.
Too big. He's got this wasn't it's all about the workout shit, man. And how he looked in an 8x10 or whatever. He's not going to look the same because he's not the same. And if all you're going to do is put out androids all look alike, then what the hell you got? You got no uniqueness. You got no individuality. So that was the whole deal. I think that the consensus was this guy may not be in great shape because he looks soft. And I'm saying that his softness, as far as his ass was concerned, or his ass issue, which is a non-issue in my view, was basically based on the fact that the perception was he had a oversized soft ass. Silly as it sounds, it's so absurd it doesn't make any sense. And I swear to God, folks, I'm not making this up. But that was the whole deal. And finally, through hell and high water, he plowed through this bullshit and became the star that he is. And really, he had a Hall of Fame level career there. There's no doubt about that. Will he ever be in the Hall of Fame? I wouldn't want to bet on that one. And I'm not so sure he would even accept it if it was offered.
It's so weird that we're even having conversations like that. But I mean, I guess that's wrestling.
It's show business, Conrad. It's goddamn show business. And it's unfair to anybody that's being persecuted in that regard. It's not fair. It's being like a bully because you got the stroke. It's not good. And I just don't like that, the singling people out in that regard, especially somebody that can go, and Punk could go.